Welcome to Spin the Wheel Showdown, where every video I sit down with a guest and we're going to spin that leader wheel. And depending on what the wheel gets, we're going to be playing a game with two different random leaders, some of the leaders we have not played, and going to see who is the better leader. Now let's spin that wheel and see what we get. What's up, everybody? The wheel has spoken, and today we're going to be playing some Boa Hancock against the new purple-yellow leader, Robin from OP09. We'll see how well this OP07 Boa Hancock leader, the queen, I'd say, of board control, is going to do against this new aggressive banish focused style of deck. Should be pretty interesting here, as we ended up taking the play here. I don't think that was on purpose. I think we ended up losing the dice roll. We're going to go ahead and start with a Sengoku. Going to look at the top 5. Going to grab out a play for our next turn here. That's going to be the good old 3-cost Doflamingo. Nice little blocker, so that'll be nice for this specific scenario, that I can potentially just block a incoming 9k swing when Robin's at 4 Dawn here. Robin's just going to pass on their 2 Dawn turn and going to go back to me here. Actually, I think I did take the play from Robin. Robin taking the play is actually incredibly dangerous, just because they can immediately swing into you for 8k with banish. So just kind of taking them off that. Yes, it's unfavorable for Boa to go first. Boa really likes going second, but we're just going to kind of play the best we can with this specific scenario here. Going to look at the top 5 using Doflamingo's effect. Going to rearrange those. See a Jinbei on top, as well as 2 Bounce Lulls and a Kaido here. We're going to go ahead and just leave that Jinbei on top. Likely going to be Jinbeiing into something on this next turn here. Don't have a lot of great options in hand, actually, so Jinbei maybe not as important, but we want to get that in hand, as we could potentially psych that up with something like future down the line, you know, the Boa blocker or something like that. Opponent's going to go ahead and swing 6k into lead. Going to go ahead and counter out of that with a 2k. They do retroactively activate Robin's effect, making sure that they pitch something with a trigger effect here. Caught him before we proceeded forward with that. Gonna go up to the good old 5 Dawn. Gonna play out a blocker Jaguar D Sol. It's a pretty solid blocker for the Robin deck. Comes out right into play off life, which is all you could ask for a 5k blocker. So just a fantastic card. Gonna go back to my turn here on our 5 Dawn turn. We're gonna go ahead and start with the Sengoku. We do have that Jinbei in hand, I believe. We end up finding another Jinbei out of the top 5 here. And we're going to go ahead and likely just going to grab that lull there. We could use the lull to block the Sol, or to return that blocker to hand, and then have a bit of a board presence here as we're going to go into this 5 Dawn turn. Like I said, typically Boa likes to go second just because there's so many 4 costs in this deck, but we're going to go ahead and play that out here. Likely, again, going to just go Jinbei into potentially just bouncing that blocker just so they don't get a free block in, as we're going to swing 5k with lead at some point, potentially this turn here. Though I'm starting to think about it here. Actually, I decided to just do it the other way around. We're just going to go ahead and just attack him and see what happens. I did want to play in mind, so I am playing against a yellow deck, right? And if those who know to play against yellow decks, there's a Nami in the trash there. That Nami KOs a 5 or less. So there are triggers in the deck here that can potentially deal with some of my boards. So there is a little bit of mis-sequencing that you kind of have to do to ensure that you don't get got by triggers here. So normally I would have played out the Jinbei, played out the Law, bounce the Sol back to hand, and then swung, right? Because that is it's getting rid of a blocker. But because there's this, fear of a potential trigger kind of KOing my newly established bodies here, kind of have to play a little bit out of order. That's just something you're going to have to do when you're playing into yellow decks, just because triggers are pure RNG. They could definitely happen to you, so you want to be able to set yourself up for the best way to play around them here. As we go into, I believe this is the 7 Dawn turn for Robin here. We saw a Yamato, I don't know why I said it that way, Yamato in hand here on the next potential turn, so that could be pretty scary, as I've got 5 life and my opponent has 3 life, so that's going to KO an 8 or less, which is pretty insane here. Opponent's just going to go ahead and stack 2 Dawn on leader. Going to go ahead and swing 7k at lead. That's going to require an 8k or 3k counter to get out of here. I do have a 2k and a 1k I'm holding up to the front of my hand here. Boa does like to particularly counter out of things pretty aggressively, because you do just want to, be able to draw cards off of bouncing effects for Boa. Boa does require you to have 5 or less cards in hand to start drawing off that. So we thought about taking it for a second, but then I was like, oh yeah, banish. So we're just instead going to counter out of it. That also helps our game plan for bouncing things. And opponent's just going to play out Nami, going to use Nami's effect, discarding a Sol to KO my Law. Ultimately, a Nami happened regardless of whether it came out of life or not, but not too bad, not too shabby. And my opponent had to pay for that one. So Not too upset about that. Gonna eyeballing that boa in the front of our hand here, going up on our 7-Don turn. We could swing 6k and then play out the boa to stun the Nami. We could also bottom deck this in Goku on our side, using the second half of Boa's effect to draw a card here. Pretty common play line for Boa. Swinging 6k, gonna get a 2k counter, gonna swing a 5k here. Likely gonna just eat it. No, instead gonna counter out of that with the Robin, and then we're gonna tap 6 and we're gonna play out Boa. We're gonna stop that, we're gonna bottom deck in Goku. And then that will proc our leader ability because we have 5 or less cards in hand. We'll draw a card. I think that was a Gravity Blade off the top. Could prove to be pretty decent in this matchup. We'll see here. Got a Jozu in the front of the hand as well. Passing back to Robin's turn. Now, remember last turn when I mentioned, now that Robin's going up to 9 Don here, I did mention that Yamato is going to get pretty scary here, as there is a full life spread of 8 life between me and my opponent. So very likely that is just going to be able to KO that Boa almost immediately here. Gonna go ahead and swing 5k into my good old Jinbei. I'm gonna counter out of that with a 2k again, trying to keep my hand low as possible, and then he's gonna play Yamato. Yamato's gonna KO my Boa, and I am sad, absolutely sad. I really wanted that to stick around. Boa's a really good attacker, right? Very, very strong threat. 8k for 6 Don that stuns something. Incredibly great card for this deck. We're gonna go up to our 9 Don turn. We're facing ourselves a big beater, the 9-cost Yamato. We do have a red rock in hand, which is pretty great. We're going to go start with a 7k lead. We're always going to attack with our bodies first on board because a trigger could potentially KO one of my characters I wanted to attack with. So you always got to be mindful when playing into decks like this. We're going to see that come out. He's going to trigger a Robin. The Robin puts a 3 or less into play. He's going to put, I have no idea what that card's called, into play, but I know what the card does. And then I'm going to swing 6k. He's going to take that as well, going down to 1. And we're going to red rock the Yamato here, and we did bounce something. We had enough cards in hand to meet Boa's conditions, so we'll draw a card. But that card on the side of the Robin here, I believe if you attach 1 Don to that character, it does gain banish, so it is a 3 cost 4k. So that's something I got to be mindful of. That is potentially 2 banish swings on this next turn when I don't have a whole lot of counter in hand, means those cards are not going into hand, which is pretty unfortunate for me. Would really hope to not see a Yamato right now, just because, and I see, funny enough, he's thumbing one to his hand right now. Yamato, very scary for me. We have 6 life here, so that Jinbei is going to be able to bite the dust pretty easily, as well as he'll also gain a life here. We're going to go ahead and he's going to go 5k into my lead here. I believe that's going into my lead. Nope, it's going into Jinbei. Jinbei's out of here, which means that Yamato is going to be taking out that Doflamingo, which means 2 banish swings can potentially go through for free here, and that's going to hurt a lot. Gonna go ahead and play out Yamato. Yamato is going to pop the Doflamingo, going to heal themselves a life. The exact line of play that I really didn't want to see going into this turn. I already dealt with 1 Yamato. I'd red rocked it. Now there's the second one, and I am not happy here. Gonna go ahead and go 5k into lead, and I'm like, I cannot. If I take this, it's just a dead card here. Really trying to value that Jozu in hand. That Jozu is not looking too good here, and we're just gonna take the banish, and it's a pudding. I think my opponent's hand's also getting pretty small here. I'm pointing out that that's the new art of pudding. So if you play at local stores, you can get new promos, right? So this is the 09 promos. You get a new promo art of pudding. That's the regular version. There's also a winter version available as well. But I was just calling that out there. And it's just going to pass back to me, not really finding it worthwhile to swing 5k with the other character, as I'd likely count out of that one. We're going to go ahead and play out good old Doflamingo here, and trying to rebuild a board here. Robin doing some work. Yamato's and swinging for board here has made it to where I am just kind of struggling to keep things in play here, to do some bouncing shenanigans. I'm going to look top 5, decide that's not what I want to see, and now we're going to go ahead and swing 5 with lead. We're going to send 5 at face, I believe. Opponent could just Gum out of this here, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go activate Gum Giant, -2 Don, discard a card, draw 2 cards, pitching a beige 2k, getting out of my 5k swing. I think he just wanted to see some new cards for the next turn here. And then now I'm going to tap 7. We're going to bottom deck 2 of those threats off that Gravity Blade. I do have enough cards to meet the threshold, so we'll draw another card, and guess what? It's another Gravity Blade. Gum Giant, man, that is a card, and that is a card that can be played in Robin too. It's Straw Hat Crew, right? So Robin can play it. Luffy can obviously play it. Purple Luffy, black purple Luffy, red purple Luffy, the new blue purple Luffy. So many decks can run this card. This card is absolutely insane. And the fact that Robin gets it too is just crazy, right? So Robin can heal up and also counter out of big swings, which is pretty crazy. Opponent's going to play down a Gadatsu that they had in hand, and I am just sad. No cards in play for me right now. Man. We're going to see what else he can do to develop this turn. Could end up just swinging pretty heavy here. He's got a Yamato on board as well as a Robin here. Could establish a Brûlée here. Looks like he has a second Gum Giant in the hand. Oh my goodness, this is not looking good. This is not looking good for me right now. I need to find a miracle here. We need to find something to work with here. Opponent's going to go ahead and swing 7k, and I'm just going to have to take that, and that is a 2k back into the trash here. 9k swing, I'm going to take that one as well. And just gonna play out the Brûlée blocker. Man, this is not looking good for the Boa side here. Managed to pick up another 2k here. We've got some plays. We could just go Boa blocker here. I could also, I'm pulling that Gravity Blade to the front of my deck here, but I don't think that's gonna be doing nearly as much work as I think it should in this current game state. I think I need to just get some threats on board. I've got 2 Boas. I could just attach 2 or swing 7 into something, right? Kind of force a block, but no, instead we're gonna slam down the Gravity Blade. Oh my goodness, we're doing it again. Gravity Blade. In hindsight, from a commentating perspective, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe could have just developed 2 bodies on board. Those bodies would have been blockers, so I could have potentially you know, made way on this next turn to have some threats to attack back. But now we're just kind of doing a big swing and a bottom decking, which ultimately it is what it is. I did not expect to draw the 3rd Gravity Blade though off the Boa effect there. Was really hoping to see some more action right now. Gravity Blade's not as good when your opponent just has a bunch of 9 and 10 drops potentially in play here. But yeah, take a quick sideline as I'm currently getting my ass beat by Robin. If you like this type of content, you like the Spin the Wheel series, you like seeing interesting leaders, definitely subscribe, join the crew, and like the video. Obviously, every like counts, every like matters here. As my opponent swinging 10k into my life, knocking a Bandish out of me here, and then we're gonna see the good old 13, or yeah, a big old swing here, 13k, and I'm gonna take that as well. And we are in a tough time to be alive right now. Oh my goodness. Robin has just had every answer that they needed to have, everything at the right moments, and I'm just struggling with just a whole grip here. And man, this is tough. I did manage to score a Boa here, so we're just gonna go with 5k lead here. Likely just going to get a 2k. Could also just Gum to continue to look for more action. Gum just being a great resource tool to just let you draw 2 new cards by getting rid of a card you don't care about. Fantastic. In addition to also countering out an effect. Like, wow, what a card, man. What a card. Gonna go ahead and just Gum out of that, discarding a 2k. Gonna draw 2 cards here, and that is it's an Usohachi in hand. Oh no. We're gonna play out the Boa here. Boa is going to stop Yamato from attacking, and then I think we're just gonna try to establish a blocker to try to survive here, because things are not looking great for us here. Gonna go ahead, and we could have potentially you know, another situation where you have to play out of order against yellow decks, and that's playing the Boa blocker after instead of before, typically, because Boa does attach 1 Dawn to something. I elect just not to attach the Dawn because I've already attacked, but in a normal situation, you'd play Boa first, attach the Dawn, do its effect, whatever, and then swing 6k with lead. But because of yellow, because of the fear, right? The fear of triggers, I have to play out of order here. Opponent's gonna play out Usohachi, which he pulled off the Gum Giant the previous turn, and then gonna swing a big old fat swing here, and I only have 5k in hand, and that game is over. Robin takes it, and man, that is a masterclass in Robin just dealing with everything, and me just trying to keep up, and I just couldn't have a board. Anyways, that was a pretty interesting match. If you like this type of gameplay, definitely subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.